There are people who are asking us to change our way of life because of a 1-degree move in the climate. Now, my view on climate change is this. I watch the people who say this to see how serious they are about it. The very people who say this.
There's your mistake.
Well, for example, I look at Mike Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg owns, I believe, 11 homes.
Can we stop looking at Mike Bloomberg? Because
well,
those ads are everywhere. Like, I got to Times Square, and it's like every time I turn around, Mike Bloomberg.
But I'm just saying, here's a guy who says it's going to be a priority for him as president. And I would say, really, if you have 11 homes, shouldn't you go down to 7? Well, if you really thought that your carbon imprint is a little too big.
I would completely agree with you there, but Mike's hypocrisy isn't really relevant to what the data show.
But are we talking about the hypocrisy of everybody? Because...
No, I'm talking about what the data show.
Okay, here's the data. Everyone can see this data, okay? Now, the Obamas, who are major apostles of this data, just bought a $12 million house right on the ocean, right on the water in Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
These are the same people who are saying that in 12 years or 10 years, Miami will be engulfed by the ocean. The oceans are going to rise and swamp coastal properties, right? And my point is not just that the Obamas are hypocrites. That would be one small piece of data by itself. Here's my point. If the data is believed, if it's plausible, if it's even probable, if there's even a 50% chance that that would be the case, real estate properties worldwide on the coast would plummet, and the inland would rise. But the fact that that's not happening anywhere, to my knowledge, tells me this. Real estate agents know it's bullshit. Buyers know it's bullshit. Sellers know it's bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit.
Curiously, all those people have no scientific foundation to assess the data. Maybe,
wait, hold on.
Maybe those people are buying those because they know we're screwed and they only got a few years left to spend their millions. Might as well enjoy it on the coast.
Really? That's what you think?
When I'm evaluating this, and first of all, I definitely want to get back to the God thing. I'm not a climate scientist. I'm not going to pretend any expertise, and there are areas of this where you and I are going to be in agreement. But when I'm trying to figure out whether or not something is real, I'm looking at the science and what the experts have to say, and you're looking at whether or not the Obamas are hypocrites, or whether Bloomberg's a hypocrite. That is not a sound epistemology to determine whether or not the climate is, okay.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, the climate scientists are, and I think this is more true of this branch of science than it is generically true, they're highly interested observers of this phenomenon. Climate science is a massively funded enterprise. It gets gigantic dollars, and the gigantic dollars are aimed at finding a predetermined conclusion. I don't think you're innocent of the idea that researchers get huge grants. Take researchers who get huge grants from pharmaceutical companies. Take researchers
Except this is bull.
This is bull.
Yes, because now the bulk of the world has at least... Let's assume that the climate change stuff is BS. The bulk of the world has bought into it and are making efforts to change things, to change the way we live our lives, mostly so we can have a life. But now, wouldn't there be more money in the people who are actually going out to debunk this? This is the sort of conspiracy level thinking that people raise about science all the time. Oh, the money is leading them towards this conclusion. There's money in anything that you can demonstrate to be true. This is why I don't buy into the big pharma conspiracy stuff of trying to keep us sick, et cetera.
Okay.
Because there's money in a cure, there's money in new diseases, there's money in this, there's money in that, there's money.
Where's the money in debunking it? Let's say I have charts right here, and I show you the whole thing is BS. Who's going to pay me?
All those people buying coastal properties that you think are hypocrites.
Why would they pay me?
Because now, if you can demonstrate that it's BS, now their property values go up even more because now...
That just means they'll give the money to the real estate agents and to the buyers, but how are they going to fund me? How do I benefit?
You're suggesting that people will fund people to do research towards a foregone conclusion that benefits them, unless it's the foregone conclusion that benefits them that I mentioned.
No, I'm saying that it's simple common sense that when there is a proposition that leads to certain... Climate change is a huge industry. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. You look like a guy like Al Gore. Al Gore's been a government servant his whole life. Do you realize Al Gore has a net worth of $200 million? How did he get $200 million? He got $200 million through climate change. Okay? It's a very profitable business.
Okay.
The debunkers of climate change are sitting in obscure research institutions collecting a $55,000 salary.
Which I would argue is an ad hominem fallacy that says nothing about whether or not
No,
the data
it's not. No, it's not ad hominem
It is,
fallacy.
it is.
It's pointing to the fact that research is not disinterested. That's not an ad hominem
Al Gore's
point.
not doing research. The fact that he can profit off something is independent from what researchers are finding out. You don't get to shame researchers because they made some damn money.
But I'm saying the researchers profit in a huge way too. Look at climate scientists and look at the money that goes into the
I will investigate how much climate
But when you said something else as well, which I think reflects a lack of understanding of markets, which is you said the real estate agents, the stock market, the real estate appraisals, those people are not scientists, right? Those people may not be scientists, but they are in a business where they put their money where their mouth is.
Yes.
Right? So in other words, it's one thing for me to say, I'm running for president and the earth is getting hotter. It's another thing for me to say, you know what, I'm living in this house on the ocean, it's $1 million, it's going to be worthless in 12 years, I should sell it to Dinesh for $100,000. Because it's literally going to be worth zero.
The fact that they don't necessarily believe that doesn't say anything. An individual's belief about what they think is going to happen with respect to climate change says nothing about what the data show with respect to climate change. You're talking about how convinced people are. You might as well be running around claiming, and to get back to the God thing, because we still got the supernatural and the afterlife and the origin of the universe. This argument is essentially the same as saying, look at how many people believe it and how strongly they believe it and how some of them are willing to sacrifice their lives for this. That must mean it's true. No, that gets to what humans do or don't believe, which is why your objection about hypocrisy is one that I share. The fact that there may be hypocrites, or maybe they're just looking at it and saying, hey, I got this money, I'll do this, we'll see what happens. Maybe it will change, maybe it won't.
Here's the
That's
problem.
all irrelevant to what the actual fact of the matter is with regard to climate change or God.
Well, let's focus on climate change for a second. We'll turn to God in a moment. All I'm trying to say is that here is an issue that is transporting itself into the domain of public policy. Mm-hmm. So it's not an issue of pure science. This is not like, was Einstein right in that E equals mc square, and we can send somebody to go look at an eclipse and verify verify that Einstein's prediction was true. That's an argument in the domain of pure science. In the climate change argument, it's going to have to come into the public domain because we're asked to make decisions like don't use plastic straws and change.
I agree.
Right.
And but now we've moved from what the data show about what is happening to what we should do about it. And I think there's plenty of room for disagreement, discussion, everything else.